Okay, so now we've done the structure and added some annotation. The next thing is to move on and actually start to plan when we are going to allocate time to actually achieve each of the tasks we have set ourselves as part of the structure. There are two ways that you can do this. There's on the right-hand side of the page, the Task and Timeline tab, which looks like this. And there is the outline view. If you go up to the View tab on the menu, and we change to outline, we can then see the outline or a content linear view of our mind map. So I'm just going to go back into the mind map view and start on the task and timeline tab on the right hand side. So when we click on this, a bar will pop out, and at the top of that bar we've got the document type. So exactly what kind of level of detail that we want to include in our kind of date information that we are going to insert into the mind map. So there are three options. There's the default, task management, project management, and there's timeline view. So for the sake of this particular demonstration, we are going to just use a basic timeline view, which is just literally the start and end date of each of the tasks that we want to set. So if I click on timeline, you get a little warning saying that if you essentially have added any information already in the timeline to do with task management, that will be lost. So as I've not done anything yet, it's fine to click OK. And on the right hand side, when we click on any one of the branches, we can see that we have a start and indeed an end time for that particular branch or that particular task. But before that we start to add information into that particular tab, I'm just going to go to the Home tab, and I'm going to add a numbering scheme, which will add a lot more clarity to the kind of flow of our structure. So if I go numbering scheme, the first option, you can then see now that there is a numbering scheme added into my mind map. So it goes obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 in a clockwise rotation, and then as we add subgroups or sub branches, this goes out 4.1, 4.2, etc. And the further that we go out, the more that would be added to. So I'm just going to start off with rock as the first task that I will be working on. So if I set the start date as next Monday, which will be the 15th of June, I want to set the start time as 9 a.m. and click OK. And then I do the same for the end date. So I want to work on this particular task all next week. So if I go through then, so 19th, which is next Friday, and I set the end time as 5 o'clock and click OK. So we've now got a start date and time and an end date and time for that particular task. And then I would just go through the rest of the mind map, adding this same information. Just to say at this point in time, it would obviously be recommended that you make your subgroups or your subtasks, their dates match up to the parent branch or the level 1 branch. So essentially, obviously, these two tasks should dictate overall how long that we should be taking on this main area. Okay, so that is all my task and timeline information added. The next thing that I'm going to do is just change the color of the main branches just for a little bit more clarity when we transfer into the timeline view. So I'm just going to quickly do that. So if you go to Format, I'm just going to go for a green color just to quickly highlight what the main ideas are. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into the View tab, and then now if I click on Timeline, you will get a visual representation including dates and times of your mind map or your project or essay. So there we go. So now that it's highlighted green, it's quite obvious to see where how long the main tasks are, or the parent branches or the level 1 branches are, and then obviously how long for the subtasks underneath those. So it just makes it really easy to visualize your overall project. And then here on the left hand side is just a very simplistic view of the outline view, which shows obviously just the start and end dates, but not much more information. So if I now go back into the map view, so where we were previously, and I now go into the outline view, I can then see the full outline view that's got all the detail from the mind mapping. So obviously it's got the dates that I've just inputted in the task and timeline tab, but it's also got all the annotation that I've inputted previously. So obviously all the text notes, attachments, hyperlinks, images, etc. And it's all there. Just to say as well that you could actually start in this view as well. You don't have to obviously input the information in the task and timeline tab. Prior to obviously inputting anything into the task and timeline tab, this view or the outline view will be completely blank, and you can just click into any of the tabs and edit the date and time information there. Sorry, any of the cells, and edit the date and time information there. So yeah, you could start in this view, but if you did start in the task and timeline tab, you can go into this view and then edit your dates and times as well.